all the guys that we were with, they were all addicted, different kind of addiction. When you take this heroin, you begin to see like you are in another world. They call it a time killer. And I remember I began taking it by chasing it in the foil. They say chasing the dragon. And now when you smoke it, you have to swallow the smoke and hold it in your stomach so that you can get these bars. There are days I began to feel like a bird, like I can fly. You see, this is the addiction. And this level of addiction, nobody can bring you out unless the help of God.
Right.
It got so bad. It got so bad. I remember now that when I smoked this heroin now, it began not to give me any bars. So they told me the next level is injected. Push it in your vein.
You started injecting.
Now I started injecting. Now I began injecting. Now you boil the heroin and put it in the syringe and began to push it in your veins. I remember I injected, all my veins collapsed. All my veins died. From my neck, my arms, my legs, my groin, all my veins died. I became a junkie. I became a homeless man. I began to sleep in the streets of London. And I remember now everybody rejected me. Nobody wanted to be involved with me because I looked like a horrible man, sleeping in the streets, not showered. I had not showered for a whole year. I was sleeping in the streets of London. All my body, you could see, this man has come to the end of life. They saw me as a dead man walking. I remember days, my brother, I would stand in the bus stop and everybody will walk home because they didn't want to be next to me. It was that level of desperation. I desired to die. There was one day I was 96% dead, only 4% alive. And I remember I was lying in the middle of the road where the police car was coming to pass, and they took me to King George's Hospital. My brother, they were waking me up with electricity shocks. They didn't care even if I died, because even if I died, there was nobody to bury me. I became a homeless Rasta man that had no life, no future, man that everybody had given up on. Nobody wanted to be next to me. I became homeless, sleeping in the streets of London. Snow time, no shoes.
So, Pastor, all this time, there was no connection.
No connection with my family. I lost everything. No address, no change of clothes. I don't have anywhere to stay.
How about your friends who you are with?
They were all junkies. We all discussion was, where are we going to buy the next drug? It got so bad, my brother, until now, my legs became like stone because of sleeping in the snow, standing all night in a phone booth. Yeah, I began now to eat from the dustbins, eating chicken bones, eating all kind of manner of food that is left over. Everybody gave up on me. I came to the place where that people say there is no recovery. There is no comeback. All this time, my mother is in Kenya praying and believing God that one day my son is going to call home.
Right.
Years went by, 5 years, no communication. No communication. People saw me as a nobody. But you see, people can know your history.
Right.
But God knows your future.
Wow.
God knows your future.
I love that.
You know, my brother, I always tell people, I met the love of God before I met the God of love. Because it was the love of God that was keeping me, sleeping in the middle of the road. It was the love of God that was keeping me when I was injecting this heroin that killed my friends. Many of them died.
Where was the turning point in all this?
The turning point was one day I was going to rob a man of God. I was going to give him getter to rock neck, and he was carrying a briefcase. And the devil ministered to me. He told me this briefcase is full of money. So as I was following the man of God, he was with the man that knew me from prison. Now remember, I had not stayed very long from prison because my life was prison life. Either if I'm not in the streets, in and out, in and out. And when they arrest me, I would carry drugs in my stomach and remove them when I get inside the prison and begin to supply to the other prisoners. That was my life. Now the turning point is where this brother told this pastor, I know this man from prison, Pentaview prison. So the pastor came, he was interested, but I was following him because of the briefcase he was carrying. He told me that, can I take you to have a cup of tea? I remember now, I was on the side where the briefcase was because I was looking for an opportunity to rock neck him and free with the briefcase because I could visualize that he's full of money. And I remember something, they say the spirit of discernment. He changed the briefcase to the other side of the hand. So I missed the opportunity. We got to the house. He tells me he went to the kitchen, made a cup of tea, and anointed the tea.
That's what he said.
Yes, he anointed the tea. They call it the cup of tea that saved a junkie. So they brought that cup of tea, and I remember I had a bag full of syringes, full of needles, full of all drugs, and I laid it on the table. When they brought the tea, I remember he asked me, would you like to be saved? I didn't know what he's talking about. Then he asked me again, would you like to give your life to Jesus? He asked me, when was the last time you spoke to your parents? It was years, my brother. Years, no communication. And this is where I felt in my heart, I think I need this turning point. But before that, I was looking where they have hidden the briefcase because I had not given up with it. And I remember now, they asked me, do you want to surrender? That's where I removed all the drugs that were in my bag. The drugs filled the table. I used to carry my own blood because I was told I have an incurable disease. They told me I have HIV because of sharing the syringe with prostitutes. And I remember now, I used to carry my own drug. I used to use the syringe in the shops. If the security doesn't want me to take the goods, I'll show them the blood and I will inject them.
Right.
And I remember now, I surrendered. The pastor moved when he saw what I was carrying. And that was the day I said, Jesus, come into my life. I am tired.
Conviction hit
Conviction
you proper.
hit me. And I remember that was the first time my eyes opened. I was living in London for many years, but I had never seen what I was seeing. I began to see shops that I have never seen before because I was in darkness. I began to see the light of God. Things began to change.
Right.
And that was my turning point.